I found like while I was there, while I was wrestling there, I felt like I found a lot more of my like actual day-to-day personality being a part of the wrestling, if that makes sense. Which I guess like again, you could say that about anywhere, but I think for me personally, I didn't really feel like that. I felt like when I went out as Little Mars, I was putting on a character. And now I feel a little bit more like I am still putting on some of a character, but like I feel a lot more comfortable being me in the ring.
Welcome to another electrifying episode of the Commentary Booth live via satellite, where we peel back the curtain on your favorite wrestlers and their cinematic inspirations. A little bit different one this week, but I'm your host, Jamie Apps, and today we're swept up in the bright lights of Hollywood as we chat with a special guest who recently returned from an excursion over there. Joining us live via satellite is none other than everyone's favorite little buddy, Lil Marz.
Hi.
How is everything up in sunny Queensland, even though it is cold at the moment?
It's good. It is definitely freezing. It hit -2 where I am overnight, which is like you think of those temperatures and you think not in Queensland, but yeah, it's pretty cold here right now. I'm wearing
Yeah,
my comfy hoodie.
that's silly cold for Queensland. What the hell?
I know, right? Like no humidity right now, nothing. It's just freezing.
Thank you for joining me on the show today to chat about your time in Hollywood and how it has sort of influenced your wrestling career. Before we dive into that though, how big a part of your life are movies and TV?
Thanks for having me. So I'm like one of those people. I have like my like handful of like safe TV shows. I feel like they're all pretty big. Like I don't know if the word's historical, but very like big in pop culture TV shows. But I will like recycle. It's very hard to get me into a new show, but occasionally I do find new ones and I cycle them through as well.
What are some of those like go-to shows for you?
Oh man, I am a massive Charmed fan. Like I had a cat growing up and I even named her after a Charmed character. So that's one every few years I'm like, "Oop, I guess it's time to watch Charmed again." Big Supernatural fan, but I didn't watch that till I was a little bit older. Desperate Housewives, Sons of Anarchy, that sort of stuff. Big on the dramas.
Yeah, good choices. They're doing a Charmed reboot, I think.
I have seen bits and pieces of that, but I feel like I'm so attached to the original Charmed. Like even I think it's the 7th season? 7th or whatever the last season. I think it's 7. Even that was like a tack on to the original story, and even that I'm like, I don't know, like they could have ended it where they did. I do like what they did with it, but they could have ended it where it was supposed to end.
Yep, fair enough. So, like I mentioned, you've just recently come back from a trip to America, specifically staying in LA. What inspired you to make the trip over to the US and stay there for a fairly extended period?
Yeah, I think obviously the wrestling scene's massive there. The West Coast has kind of like an up and coming. It's not as like deeply rooted as some of the other scenes, but it's definitely super vibrant. Lots of lucha inspiration there. And it's a really cool place, I think. In terms of America as a whole, like I know it's probably a controversial opinion, especially with the political climate right now. So without trying to sound tone deaf, I've always really liked American culture and just always saw America as this big happy playground, which again I know is not exactly how it is right now, but I still wanted to go there and I still wanted to see it and be a part of it and really like immerse myself in the experience there.
Yep. And you got like the ultimate wrestling experience because you were there during WrestleMania season and spent some time in Vegas as well. So you did get the true massive American wrestling experience.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like getting to do Mania in Vegas of all places too was like pretty huge because like everyone says you should go to Vegas, and I'd always kind of like I'd been to America before on a shorter trip, and I'd always be like, yeah, like I don't gamble though. Like why would I go to Vegas? But no, you absolutely have to go to Vegas. It's insane.
I would agree, but I think it's a one and done. I don't need to go back there
Yes.
again next
Yes.
year for Mania again.
Yeah, I'm torn. Like I'm kind of like, oh, I could do Mania again. But Vegas was a lot. It definitely after the week I was there, I was like, I'm happy to leave and go to like a quiet city now.
Yeah, Vegas is like a 4 days at most, and I did a week there as well, and it was like, too much.
Too much, way too much.
And you were based in LA, the home of Hollywood and movies. Did you get to do any of the sort of touristy LA things while you were there as well?
tried to. I didn't probably get as many things as I would have liked done because I was doing a lot of training, and yeah, just going to shows and being at shows. But I did see the Hollywood sign. I did this little like I wouldn't call it like a bushwalk. It was like a random side street that had like an ending. The road just ended and you could kind of just walk up there to get really close to it. So I did that twice actually with two different people. And I saw the Walk of Fame obviously, went down to like the main strip, Sunset Boulevard, spent some time down there.
Yep, and you did Santa Monica Pier, and
Yes.
was it when you were doing that Hollywood sign hike that you were doing, like, Hurricane Runners on the walking trail?
Yes. Yes, my friend Lily, Lily Ruiz, she came from Chicago for a weekend and she was like, "We have to go to the Hollywood sign." When we got there, there was a really nice, I think they were Korean, couple doing, like, ballroom dancing, and we were like, "We should do wrestling moves."
It was a good clip, it was very fun.
Yeah, no, it was a fun experience, and it was really cool because neither of us had actually been there before, so finding it together and doing and getting to share that together was awesome.
And did you get to spot any sort of celebrities during your time in LA as well?
You know what? No, I the closest thing, so I went to a lunch, like a, drinks and lunch kind of thing at this one bar, and Kyle Gass from Tenacious D, he was there, but that was it. That was the closest thing. I mean, that was really cool because I was a really big Tenacious D fan as a kid, and it was like, "Oh my god, Kyle Gass is sitting over there having a beer." But yeah, nothing like no like crazy celebrity encounters, surprisingly.
Fair enough. Did you do, like, a tour of the celebrity homes or anything?
No, so I was going to. I had on my list. So the Hidden Hills was like 20 minutes from where I was staying. And you can't get in there, but I did want to go and drive past the gate and just see the gate, but I never ended up managing to do that. But yeah, apparently it's very like everyone's like in this kind of hidden section. So I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. When I was there the first time, I did one of those tours, and it was like it was booked through the hostel I stayed at, and it was just like a walking tour, so they took you on just, like, the public bus
Oh
up
wow.
to where they all are, and then we just walked around the suburbs and, like, went past, like, the Playboy Mansion and
Oh
Michael Jackson's house.
true.
And
Yeah,
that was
no,
kinda cool. It was very fun.
I didn't even think about booking like a tour for that. That next time I go, I'll definitely have to try that.
Yeah, and, like, the bus they do the celebrity bus tours, and, like,
Mm.
they seem like a good way to spend half a day just sitting on a bus looking at some fun houses.
Yep. No, that's I did see the hop off bus. But that yeah, again, it's one of those things where it was like I was kind of like, oh, that would be cool, but I was sort of always in a rush, always going somewhere.
The classic Mars moment.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Always got a plan.
And you mentioned the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yes.
I thought a fun question would be if there was a wrestling Walk of Fame, who would be the top 5 picks overall and the top 3 from Australia?
Ooh. I mean, I feel like top 5 picks overall. Don't we already have that? Isn't it called the Hall of Fame?
True.
I did think about who I would pick, and I feel like it's such a tough one. My number one would be Undertaker, and then everyone else, I'm like, I can't choose. Undertaker's number one though. He would be the
Yep.
biggest star.
It's like
For
that classic, the Mount Rushmore of wrestling question. It's
oh,
like, how do you
I
pick just 4?
I hate that question. Can Undertaker sit on all four of them, and then don't make me rank everyone else because I love them all. But I did for
Well,
Australia.
there is like versions of Undertaker, so we could just put all the different versions of Undertaker on there.
That's it. Perfect. For Australia, though, I think there's some clear front runners. Obviously, there's some incredible talent and some people doing some really big things. But if I was going to pick like a Hall of Fame or like a Walk of Fame for Australian wrestling, I feel like it would have to be based on like, I don't know, like, I wouldn't say contributions because I don't want to say that like other people have not contributed as much as these people. But I think like, you would have to give a star to Tennille Dashwood for being the first Aussie ever to get signed to the WWE. That's a big one. By the same token, you'd have to give one to Rhea Ripley for being the most famous export we have ever had. And then I think the other star would have to go to Hartley Jackson. I think what he's done for our scene is just so incredible. Like he's produced so many talents and still to this day like helps everyone that asks him and is such a knowledgeable person that I think like he would have to get his flowers on like metaphorical walk of fame that we've created.
Yeah, Jag was like the first person that came to my mind when I thought of that question. Like the amount of people he has trained, both here in Australia, and then when he was with the WWE as a coach, training all of the people, and now in Japan, he seems to be one of those guys that anytime somebody goes to Japan, it's like, "Hit up Jag, he'll guide you around and explain how to be in Japan and live comfortably."
Yeah, he's really passionate about that too. Like he's if someone wants to go and explore that, like he's definitely the guy that will show you the ropes a little bit, tell you how to be, take you to his favorite restaurants kind of thing. And yeah, I think in personally he's definitely helped me a lot in that way. Like when I first went on my first trip to Japan, I met him. And then when I went back for the second one, I found like I really made a friend in him and I felt really like taken care of because I was like, there's this other Australian who's been here for like 10 years who knows everything about how to be here. If I need any help, I can ask him.
Yeah, just bring him some Vegemite or Gravox and he's a happy man.
Oh, yeah, that's a tip for every wrestler ever. If you are going to Japan and you want to meet up with Hartley Jackson, take him some Grey Box. Just the original flavor. He loves that stuff.
It is pretty good.
Yep.
Are you a trading card collector or a fan of Australian pro wrestling? If so, you're not going to want to miss out on the limited edition Australian wrestling cards. Each set includes 50 packs of 10 cards, including some of the country's top wrestling talents like Robbie Eagles, Shane Haste, Madison Eagles, Hartley Jackson, and they have Shaza McKenzie listed, although she is not a favorite. The velocities, and a lot more. There's wrestlers, referees, announcers, commentators that are featured, giving you a full appreciation of the Australian independent scene. The cards sold out a lot faster because cards are hot right now, as I'm sure Jeremy Lambert will tell you. But you can order your Australian wrestling cards now at Pario Magazine. That's Pario magazine.com.au/AUS WRES cards. Follow Australian Wrestling Cards on social media at AusResCards for updates. Join the hundreds of fans who have already discovered the excitement of Australian wrestling cards.
While you were in America, did you see or do anything that inspired or influenced how you are approaching wrestling and the Lil Marz character moving forward?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty like this is an interesting question because I think definitely in like a meta sort of way. So like I was kind of going through like a little bit of a, what is the character going to be next? Like I want the character to evolve, but where do I go? And I think like a really big thing that I took away from being in LA and in Hollywood is like the glitz and glamour of everything. It doesn't always have to be so black and white, so to say. Like I think something I found really interesting was the way, especially in the wrestling scene there, like there was a lot of characters, yes. But there was also a lot of people who were just kind of doing themselves turned up to 11. And I guess we say that a lot about wrestling, like just do yourself turned up to 11, but this wasn't even like a character turned up to, this wasn't even like a part of you turned up to 11. This was like people just being themselves. And then kind of dressing that up in like beautiful outfits and really larger than life, social media presences and all that. And I think that comes from the way that in Hollywood you're so connected to like the big what's considered like the silver screen, like the big time. Like you can walk down the street. I mean, I didn't, but apparently you can walk down the street and see celebrities, and it's like I think there it makes everything so special in that way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's more sort of authentic. It's not
Yeah.
here's Lil Mars the wrestler and then Lil Mars the human being. Like
Yeah, it
they
feels
are
really
connected, so let's make it and let people connect
exactly.
with them that way.
Yeah, and I found like while I was there, while I was wrestling there, I felt like I found a lot more of my like actual day-to-day personality being a part of the wrestling, if that makes sense. Which I guess like again, you could say that about anywhere, but I think for me personally, I didn't really feel like that. I felt like when I went out as Little Mars, I was putting on a character. And now I feel a little bit more like I am still putting on some of a character, but like I feel a lot more comfortable being me in the ring, which is something I definitely took away from my time there.
And that's the thing too, like because of social media, we are so much more connected to the people behind the characters.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like the 50s and 60s where it was the only time you saw this celebrity was when they were on a movie screen.
yep, exactly. So it's cool. It's a very cool place.
And I think we saw some of that evolution for you in the PWL Doomsday show, where you kind of went in a fresh new direction teaming up with Wakehol's Most Wanted, and I watched it and went, "Oh, this is a great way to evolve the Lil Mars character and give her some edge."
Yeah, exactly. That was actually really awesome. I'm really thankful I got to do that because yeah, I think in on a personal level, like Jack Tar and Cockroach, two people I've trained with since I started. Cockroach was actually my friend outside of wrestling, and he's who took me to 3 count. So that was really cool in that way. And then because it was, yeah, I'd come back from this place where I'd sort of really found, yeah, more of myself and how to put more of myself into my wrestling and be more of myself in the ring as opposed to a character. Then getting to do that for the first time at home with people I felt so comfortable with. That was fun. Planning that match and getting everything together was really, it was that like the moment I think where we're doing the dog shot and then I get Christina Cade in the back, then I kind of look around and they're like, pin her, pin her. That was like, that was so real. Like that was like, that wasn't I mean, it was obviously planned, but it wasn't planned in the way that it was manufactured. It was very much like that's what little Mars would do. That's what Mars would do. And that's what Cockroach and Jack Tar would say.
Has that made, like, just performing a lot easier for you because it's not so much, like, thinking what the character would do, it's just, "What would I do?"
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think people always talk about in their careers like where they found their feet and like found themselves as performers, and I feel like I don't want to say like I fully found myself. I am everything now, but I feel like I definitely found my feet in terms of my comfortability in the ring and my ability to just yet be myself and be confident in that.
And I know while you were in the States, you were involved in a segment on a show with James Angel, who a lot of people might know as James Willems from Rooster Teeth or Funhouse fame. How did that come about and how was that experience?
That was really fun. Despite his heel character, James is so lovely. He was so fun to work with. So I think in terms of like the kayfabe world, he basically just interrupted my goodbye. I was getting a lovely little like "Thank you, Mars" chant from a promotion I was working regularly there, and he came and interrupted my serenade, and Nina and I just were kind of like, what are you doing here? But in terms of like how that really came about is he was running the next segment with Nina. So it was a nice little tie off, and it gave me the opportunity to kind of work with him a little bit, which was awesome.
Maybe James needs to come to your home turf here in Australia and sort of get some comeuppance at some point.
Yeah, James, if you're watching this, the challenge is laid. Please.
And then if you could be in sort of any Hollywood movie, what would it be?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I feel like give me a lightsaber and put me in Star Wars, please. Shoo, shoo, shoo.
Did you
I
go
was
to Disney?
No, I didn't actually. I wanted to. It was on the list too, but I was just so go, go, go. Like it was like 1 week I was here, 1 week I was there, then I was getting back and straight in the ring and never got the chance to sort of take a day and actually go to Disney. But on the list for next time.
Yeah, the Star Wars area of Disney is awesome.
That's
And
cool.
if
Yeah.
you're a Star Wars fan, I reckon you would have absolutely loved it.
That's awesome. I feel like I don't want to say I'm a Star Wars fan. Like I feel like Star Wars fans are like so much Star Wars fans, but my brother and my mum were fans growing up, so I feel like it was one of the first movies I remember watching. And one of the things where I if I wanted to be in a movie, I think Star Wars would be the funnest.
And there's been so many like celebrities that are in Star Wars movies, but we don't know about them because they do the let's hide someone in a stormtrooper outfit or stuff like that.
Yeah, literally, there must be so many people who like got to be a part of that we just don't even know.
And then as we close out the episode, what was the best piece of advice you've sort of been given in terms of developing the character and searching for character inspiration?
This I think this ties in really well to the topic of this conversation, but someone told me really early on, like really, really early on, don't just look at wrestlers. Like as a wrestler, it's really easy to go, oh, okay, like, I want to be like this. I want to be like Eddie Guerrero. Or I want to be like Rey Mysterio. I want to be like The Undertaker. But like they aren't the only place we can look for inspiration. Like you can absolutely look for inspiration within wrestling, but you can also look for inspiration in TV shows, in cartoons, in movies. And I think like for me personally, like that was another big thing that I was thinking a lot about while I was in LA is like what movies can I draw inspiration from? And a really big one that came to me was Fred and George from Harry Potter. Like I feel like when I think about where I want Little Mars to go, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the harmless trickster. Um, and I think if I was thinking just in the box of wrestling, there is so much that I would have missed in terms of like nuances of characters and like the way they interact with other people, the words they say, like those sorts of things all really matter too, and they exist outside of the ring.
Yeah, you could even look at sort of Loki from Marvel, like he's the kind of trickster character, but yeah, if you looked purely at wrestling, you'd kind of just be looking at, yeah, Eddie Guerrero, maybe Mick Moretti, but then you kind of just become a caricature of them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I think a big thing that a lot of wrestlers struggle with is like finding their own identity. Like it's definitely again easy to say like I want to be like I love Kylie Ray, I want to be like Kylie Ray, but I can't be Kylie Ray because Kylie Ray does Kylie Ray better than anyone will ever do Kylie Ray. So it's like where can I find a character that is like inspired by her and you know does kind of what she does in the same space but is still me. And that's where I think drawing from places other than wrestling really helps.
And then as we look ahead, what's in store for you in wrestling over the next couple of months?
Yeah, I think well by the time this comes out, I will be in Japan. So that would be really cool. But yeah, I think the year I've kind of just run on this like go 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 see where it takes me attitude, which is kind of it's fun. It's a lot of chaos. But I think I will be doing another overseas trip towards the end of the year. But yeah, then I guess just watch my socials, see where you can find me. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Glad to hear you going back to Japan. Your post yesterday very much confused me.
Yeah, I had a lot of people message me and say like, "Are you already in Japan already?" And I was like, the characters say "Dreaming of Tokyo," and the song said, "The next stop is Tokyo." So I was like, it's a little bit underhanded, but if you were really paying attention and thinking out how I think, you would have got there.
That makes more sense. I
Yes.
was I was like trying to find the like translate caption button and it never popped up. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm really confused. It's like
Well,
she's
that
already there.
actually
What's happening?
I thought that would when I posted it, I was like, "Oh, it doesn't come up with the C translation," but, like, you can screenshot it and put it in Google Translate if you really cared that much, but yeah. It confused a lot of people. I kinda like that, though, like, I kinda like the fact that you kinda have to get inside my brain to understand things I post sometimes.
Yeah, I was like, we've got an interview booked. Where what how is she gonna be in Japan? What's going on? So yeah, where is the best place for people to support you and track the wrestling journey moving forward?
Yeah, I do the most posting on Instagram, so it's LILMZZ. And then I do try and keep up with my Twitter/X, which is Little Mars Wrestler.
Perfect. And then yeah, you've got the marketing Lil Marz on Instagram as well, which is very helpful, very insightful.
Oh,
People should
thank
follow that.
you. Yeah, my Instagram page. So I as you know, like I work in marketing. I freelance, and that's how I do this crazy traveling, not really any plans life. But yeah, so I made a page for that. I found like so many people in wrestling and so many athletes outside of wrestling and so many powerlifters I know, so many like other combat sports would come to me with like questions and there were so many things they didn't know and I was like, I can just make a whole page about this. So yeah, if you want marketing tips at Marketing with Mars.
Alrighty. Thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and YouTube. You can follow me on social media at JamieUps Media and at Pario Magazine. Thanks, Mars, for coming on and chatting with me, and good luck in Japan and wherever the crazy world of wrestling takes you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.